Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Continuing to take a look at that Week 6 slate, and we have the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets heading on the road to play a Miami team coming off a bye. We're going to dive into this Miami team. We said this to begin the season. They have the talent to do something special in 2023. Now, the question of does this talent come together and manifest itself on the football field on Saturdays, that was a question. But the talent was not a question, and we are starting to see Miami and that talent really turn it on Saturdays. Excited to get into this one. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys. The support you guys have shown the boys all offseason and into the college football season has really been phenomenal. I mean, almost 10,000 subscribers. Really can't thank you guys enough for all the support you have shown. So if you do enjoy the content, you want to support the fellas, consider subscribing to the channel as I hit my mic. But more importantly, best part about doing this, hearing from you guys in the comment section. So let us know your game picks, predictions, keys to the matchup in the comment section. And without further ado, let's get into this. And I want to start with this Miami team. Now, Georgia Tech coming off a tough loss to Bowling Green. If I'm a Miami fan, I'm not reading too much into that because this is a Georgia Tech team that only lost to one score to an undefeated Louisville team that gave them about all they can handle. Went down to Ole Miss and played them really tight too and beat Wake Forest. This is a Georgia Tech team that I think is pretty solid, just had a bad Saturday, and you see that in college football. That stuff happens all the time. This Miami team, I have to give Mario Cristobal all the credit in the world. We knew Mario could recruit his tail off. He's going to bring in talent to this team. But what he did making the change at both coordinator spots after year one, that's probably a hard decision to make, but it was the right decision to make. And you're seeing both sides of the ball for Miami, a really complete team. You look at this depth chart, you look at the roster for Miami, especially getting some key guys back on the defensive side of the ball. Where's the weakness? I mean, this Miami team is really, really solid. Let's start with this Georgia Tech offense going up against the Miami defense that, again, shout out Lance Gidger. You take a look at some of the numbers, it's been elite. 14.3 points per game given up. That's top 15 in the country. In the trenches, they're dominant. They're only allowing 2.3 yards per carry to opposing running backs. That's number 3 in the country. You talk about a front seven that we had some question marks, not about the talent, but kind of the grit, the big bodies in the middle of that defense. We've got our answers. You start with this defensive line. I think guys on the edge really stepping up. Jafari Harvey playing some really good ball. Ruben Bain, true freshman, has been an absolute game wrecker. You look in the middle. I don't even think we've seen the best version of this Miami team in the middle. I think Leonard Taylor's still getting right. Lance Gidger even said he's still working on that body composition, expects better football from Leonard Taylor. The crazy part is they've been really good up front, and I think they're just getting better because they're going to continue to get guys back. Nigel Lee Kelly's been banged up, Akeem Mesidor, Branson Dean. When they get fully healthy, especially coming out of a bye week, you have to feel really good if you're Miami and what you've seen from this front seven. Now, the one number that I'm looking for Miami to maybe improve on is the sack rate, right? This is a team that you turn on the film and you watch them. Like, this defensive line is getting after it. You check the numbers, only 4.8% sack rate. That's number 90 in the country. So you're seeing them win up front. Now you just got to go finish the play. Bring the quarterback to the ground. They're going to have a really interesting test here, though, with Haynes King, who, Brent Key in this offense, I think doing a really good job with Haynes King. When Haynes King came over from Texas A&M, I was like, he was not great at Texas A&M. I don't see him being great at Georgia Tech. I was wrong. Completing 65% of his balls, 15 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 1,500 yards of passing. Haynes King's been really solid. They run the ball. They got 2 running backs who average 5 yards per carry plus and a few good receivers. This Georgia Tech offense can put up some points. It can attack a secondary that, again, Miami, it's really coming together. You had, Jaden Davis really stepping up. You're going to get Cam Kitchens back. That's going to be massive for this Miami team. James Williams continuing to make those strides. I think Corey Couch has been really, really good. Kind of rounding it out. You, again, look at this Miami team on the defensive side of the ball. Where's the weakness? Traditionally, it's been in the linebacker room. Francisco Mauinoa, Wesley Bassane, Corey Flagg Jr., they're all playing really good football behind a really good defensive line and a back end that's continuing to get better. This Miami defense, that's not a fluky stat. They are one of the better teams in the country on the defensive side of the ball, and you're starting to see that talent really manifest itself on the field. And as they continue to get healthy, I mean, this is going to be a really fun defense to watch, and you're going to get a good test. I mean, this might be one of the better offenses that Miami's played all year. Haynes King can really sling it. They got some talented wide receivers on the outside. Really excited to see what Miami can do coming out of the bye week. Now, you flip the side of it, this Miami offense with Shannon Dawson has also been elite, averaging 42.3 points per game. That's number 6 in the country. You are complete on both sides of the football. Tyler Van Dyke getting back to form. This is probably the best we've seen Tyler Van Dyke play, and that's including the 2021 year, completing 74% of the balls. That's one of the highest in the country. Here's the kicker, though. They're also hitting the explosive plays, something that we were hammering the table. You just didn't see from Josh Gaddis in that offense last year. 10.5 yards per pass attempt. That's also top 10 in the country. So you have a quarterback that's completing a lot of passes and hitting those explosive plays. Massive, massive storyline for Miami. And I think another piece of that puzzle is the wide receivers. All right, you haven't had that good a wide receiver play. You look back last year, Will Mallory was your leading pass catcher as a tight end. That's not a knock on Will Mallory, more of a knock on just not getting the ball to the explosive playmakers on the outside last year. Jacoby George stepping up. Colby Young looks like he could legitimately be one of the best receivers in the country with the frame and how he can work after the catch. And then you have old reliable Xavier Restrepo. That battery between TVD and Xavier Restrepo, the chemistry that they have, I mean, it's next level. And when you have that with the slot wide receiver, kind of a guy that, hey, we need 5 yards here. 3rd and 5, we got to move the chains. They're going to Xavier Restrepo. He's going to get open. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to move the chains. Like, this offense through the air has been really good. But you talk about the identity of this team. What is it going to be? You bring in Shan Dawson. You have the air raid principles set in. Don't get it twisted. We said don't get it twisted. This is a team that's been running the ball 55% of the time. They're number 4 in the country running the football, 6.5 yards per carry. Henry Parrish averaging 7.9 yards per carry. You have guys like A.J. Allen, Mark Fletcher, Don Chaney coming back from injury. I look at this team. We just went over the defensive side of the ball. That's elite. You look at the offense. They can run the football. They can hit the explosive play through the air. Where does this Miami team struggle? And I get we've seen them play Texas A&M, who seemingly is a good team. They're kind of taking care of business in the SEC right now. If you're a Miami fan, you have to be thrilled with what you're seeing on both sides of the ball. Now, I don't want to skip on Georgia Tech. On the defensive side of the ball, they have not been good, right? Allowing 35 points per game, that's 108th. 5.5 yards per carry, that's 124th. I see Miami running the football behind a really good offensive line with a stable of backs. One thing I want to keep my eyes on, Georgia Tech can get after the passer. I mean, they're sacking the quarterback on 8.8% of dropbacks. That's top 25 in the country. Can Miami hold up in pass pro? We've seen them road grade in terms of run blocking. If there's maybe a question about this offensive line, I really don't think there is can you continue to pass protect for Tyler Van Dyke? They've done a really good job of it. You're going to get another test against this Georgia Tech team. Getting to the pick here, Miami 21-point favorites. You guys know I don't love taking three score lines here, but I look at this Georgia Tech team, and I'm not out on Georgia Tech. Yeah, Georgia Tech fans know I kind of like what Brent Key is doing. I think Haynes King is putting it together. They're still in that development process. I think the talent on both sides of the ball favors Miami. I think what Miami wants to do on offense, run the football against a Georgia Tech team that struggled to stop the run, big time advantage to the Miami Hurricanes. But if they want to load the box and try to stop Miami's rushing attack, this Miami team can hit the explosive play. On the defensive side of the ball, I think they're elite at all 3 levels of defense. I like this Georgia Tech offense. I think they'll find a way to put some points up on the board. That being said, I don't think it's going to be enough because I think this Miami offense is too balanced between the rush and the pass. Give me this, and we might need to do a deeper dive into this Miami team. I will say another thing, caveat for the Miami fans, massive recruiting weekend. Jeremiah Smith going to be on campus. A lot of 2024 commits and targets going to be on campus. Remember 2 weeks ago or a couple weeks ago when they hosted Texas A&M, they had a massive recruiting weekend. They resulted in a couple of commits. If Miami puts another massive performance on the board here, you might see the recruiting trail pick up a little bit. So I'm looking for Miami to come out sharp, coming out of a bye week, ready to play, and take care of business against the Georgia Tech team that, again, is coming off a loss, kind of a head-scratching loss to Bowling Green. This Hurricanes team, I think, is a lot better than most people think, and that's crazy because they're the number 17 team in the country. Give me the Canes covering the number here. This Miami team really, really playing some good football. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. If you do enjoy the content, again, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.